Well, hello there and happy Saturday. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to today's Travel Marketeering Saturday session with me, Joshua Harrell, your travel marketeer, your chief travel marketeer. Can that be a title? I don't know. Thank you so much for joining me live. I hope you can hear me okay. We're getting the studio set up. I hope it's a little better quality than it was the last few weeks. But so happy to be here with you. And if you're joining me live, I know you got up early, especially if you're on the West Coast, to do some travel marketeering and get into some deep discussions. If you want to watch this back, or you want to watch other episodes of the Saturday sessions, go to our YouTube channel or search YouTube for our YouTube channel, World Via Travel Network, and you can find the playlist for all the travel marketing sessions, as well as a lot of other content and more content coming. So very, very excited about that. If you are joining me live, then please use the Q&A down below to chat with me, ask questions all throughout today's session. I will get to them as soon as I can. And you know what? Sometimes it's just nice to have a little encouragement as we go along. So sometimes I might get in the pulpit and I might start to preach. And I always appreciate a good TM for travel marketing in the Q&A. So feel free to drop that in. But good morning, good morning, good morning to all of you. So thank you for joining me live. Now, today we're going to be talking about, I have to make sure I get the title right. I have it on my thing, on my screen here. Setting up a customer feedback system for your agency. Okay, I know that sounds so thrilling and exciting. And you're like, Joshua, why do I need to do this? Oh, we're going to get into it. And not only are we going to get into a feedback system, because what is travel marketing? It's all about creating systems to market your travel business. Okay, so we're going to talk about the system approach to collecting feedback from your customers and what to do with that feedback. Okay. And then we're also going to get into asking for testimonials. And I spent a little time last night uh, coming up with some fun ways to ask for testimonials in email and text message. Yes, this is a twofer. You're getting feedback systems, testimonials. Yeah, we're going to get into it. So I'm very happy that you are watching this because marketing is not just about logos and websites. It is about your brand and it evolving over time. And your brand is everything a customer sees, feels, hears, touches in some cases. It's everything. It's the almighty marketing there. So you being here and working on your travel marketing, it shows that you're thinking not just about those things. You're constantly evolving your business, making it better, making it more fun to be in. Because let's face it, when you have your own business, it's a tough slog, right? It's a lot of work. But when you start to reap the benefits of everything you're doing, whether it's your education when it comes to destinations and products, and whether it's your developing those partnerships with supplier partners, it the marketing, it all feels good, and you start to get into this place where you're like, yeah, winning, winning. What can I do next? What can I do next? And I love that. I love that, as you know. So a little background on me, if you're new to this. Oh, Erica, World Via Travel Network's Director of Member Development, has joined the chat, as she often does on Saturdays. And you know what? I just want to make a point here that she is not required to tune in. She creates content every single day of the week. She is a very, very busy person, but yet she still likes to spend Saturday mornings here with all of us and working on travel marketeering, and always has some great insight. She said, "Good morning," and a TM. Thank you, a TM back at you. I love it. I love it. Now, if you are new to these sessions, we started these, I want to say maybe around August, we started these sessions as a way that we could just have a good old-fashioned chin wag around travel marketeering. And it has evolved over time to be one of the most rewarding things that I get to do uh, most weeks. I will say there are some Saturdays that I miss. But a little side note, if you do join me live and you're not doing anything next Saturday, even though it's a holiday weekend, I will be here. I will be here. I'm just saying, I'd like to have you here live. But these sessions have evolved over time, and they just keep getting better because of you participating. So definitely want to see you in the Q&A. And if you do have a question, this is just some things that we've learned along the way. If you do have a question, try to give me as much detail as you can. Since we're not having a real dialogue, sometimes there's more information. Like if you're talking about your business and you are trying to get into specifics, tell me about what type of business you have in terms of like what your niche is, how long you've been doing this. It just give me enough to work with, and I definitely am full of opinions, so I will definitely give you my best guidance, okay? So feel free to do that. A little background on me. I've been doing marketing ever since I was a wee child, working at a theme park. Sales and marketing has been in my blood forever. I got to do a few decades with a brand called Bare Minerals, a cosmetic line. I got to run their retail division, work on their QVC appearances. So that's why I don't know. I just like being on video, so I hope you do too. No, just kidding. But I love marketing. I love sales. And more importantly, I have been an entrepreneur. So I've been very much in your shoes, and I failed at almost every single thing that I did as an entrepreneur. So the reason why I share that with you is a lot of what we talk about, especially around systems, is because when you're an entrepreneur, you are the chief sales officer, the chief marketing officer, you're the chief financial officer, you're the CEO, you are all those things. You are every woman, right? It's all in you. So we have to create systems in order to make things work and keep working. So while you set up your marketing systems, they are working even when you are now working with a client, closing deals, putting together their trips, all that. So that is my background, and I've been in the travel industry for about 7 years, getting to work with thousands of travel agency owners and advisors, helping them build the business that they want. And number one request is always marketing. So I think I've got a job for a little bit. I got a job for a little bit. So thank you again for joining, and let's get tucked in here. Okay. So for feedback systems, what we're talking about here is collecting information about your client's experience. Okay. So you can take that information and improve. You can also take a victory lap when something that you're trying to do works, and that comes back in the feedback. Okay, very, very, I mean, you guys have done hundreds of surveys in your lifetime around even going to the frozen yogurt place. I'm sure you get surveys on your experience there. When you fly anywhere, most of the time you get a how's our service survey. Or when you call in for customer support, you get questions, can you stay on the line to provide us feedback? Now, sometimes you skip out of those, you don't do them, right? But sometimes you do. Sometimes you do it when you're unhappy. You're like, oh, I will make sure I fill out the survey. But in some situations, you had such a great experience, and you know that, especially with small business owners, when you get those requests, at least for me, I know that they don't get hundreds of survey responses. So I do try to give them the feedback. Now, something I learned a long time ago, and it came from a CEO at Staples a long time ago. I don't even know if there are Staples anymore, but the marketing team there would have to create emails all the time, and of course they'd create surveys. And he was very, very particular about emails and surveys. But a piece of advice that, or well, it was direction at that time, but a direction he gave to his team, especially around surveys, and I recite this all the time. If you ask the question, you better be willing to do something with the answer. And that seems so obvious, but how many surveys have you done where you're just like, gosh, this survey goes on forever? And especially with a large company, you're like, are they even going to do anything with this, right? But that has been such a helpful, I don't know, mechanism or guiding principle in creating surveys for me, because sometimes people will create a survey and they'll ask the same question over and over again. Or they're asking a question that they already know the answer to. So especially if you send to a client, if it's more of a one-to-one survey, you send that survey and you know who the client is that you send it to. It was a personal send. And then you ask them for their email address or their address, their mailing address. You already have that information. Why are you asking that? So really think about what you're asking. Make sure that it is something that you're going to do. You're gonna act on that information. Now, if everything's grand and there's no constructive criticism there, then there's not something that you need to act on. But if someone had answered that question differently, what would you be willing to do? What could you do? Okay. So I want to make sure you keep that in mind. Now, to do surveys, very, very easy. If you're like, I don't have any fancy marketing tools to create surveys, let me tell you, really, really easy for free. You can create very simple surveys in Microsoft and Google Forms. Um, Microsoft Forms, I believe Google Forms will do this as well, but I've had more experience with Microsoft Forms where you create it and then it compiles all the results over time. So then you've got some nice charts to look at and just an overall summary of the response. I do believe Google Forms, I mean, they're pretty on top of it, but that's the one that I've had most experience with creating surveys. You can also use a product called Typeform. So type Type and then form, Form. There's a paid version of that, but there's also a free version and very easy, very sleek tool to use. And then you get into more advanced tools like SurveyMonkey. And that is a very powerful tool. It is a pay for, you do have to pay for that product. Um, and I think if you are at the place where you're doing multiple transactions within a week, and I'm using that in the travel sense, because if maybe you're closing a deal maybe once every 2 weeks, uh, you're not doing the enough transactions, I think, to warrant spending money on it. But that doesn't mean you can't start with a Microsoft Forms or Google Forms and get the ball rolling. And then as your business evolves, if you want more dynamic surveys, then definitely go to SurveyMonkey. So those are the tools. So you can, again, Microsoft and Google Forms, those are free. So please, you can start surveys today. And we're going to talk about things that you can ask, okay? But I do have a question come in from Kara. Kara, thank you so much for joining today. Uh, I can already tell what this question is. I'm not a quick reader. So just so you know, if when I have to read something, it's a little iffy when I say it. So anyway, Kara said, do you think asking for a review plus a survey is too much of an ask for a client? I'm always worried that they will be overwhelmed and not do them. So I only ask for a review until it's their second or more trip. Then I ask for a survey type request. I am so glad I'm so glad you asked this question. I'm so glad you asked the question, Kara. So you're 100% right. Trying to ask to do a survey and to do a review at the same time is too much of an ask. You're you really need to think about your timing here. Um, and you're 100% right. If I fill out a survey and I give you all this information and then I ask for a review, or then you ask me for a review, I'm like, I just gave you that information. But the review to you means let's be honest, the review means a heck of a lot more than that survey information. Okay. Now, the survey information is really going to help you refine your customer experience. But that review is what's going to help you attract more clients. So I know you've got to weigh this out to figure out what is most important to you, but you can do both. All right. The way that I would space it out is I would recommend that you do your survey more on the return of the trip. Okay, so almost immediately they land, and you don't have to follow this specific this to the letter, but I would say they land, you give them a day to recover, and then I would send that survey. They might not answer it right away, but they will probably get to it. And in this survey, you're asking questions about this one trip, this experience. You're asking about their service experience with you. You're asking about feedback on the destination, the property, the cruise. So you want a little information there, and then try to collect some indication of how you could it could have been even better. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Um, and let that be while it's fresh in their mind, get that feedback from them as soon as possible. Now, for the review, space that out just a little bit, okay? Because your survey is going to give you a lot of that, how I feel right in this moment. And you do want that feedback. And sometimes it's not feedback about what you have done. It's maybe feedback about the property or the transfers or the airline, right? So you're giving somebody, if somebody's had a bad experience, not necessarily with you, but with the product, you're giving them a place to formally convey that information. So be prepared. That the fact that you can't control the entire experience of your client, there you are relying on your travel partners to deliver the service. Um, be prepared that some of that feedback will have nothing to do with you. But you've given them an outlet. Basically, you've let them give off some steam. Then you take that and maybe you need to contact those travel suppliers that you work with and let them know if it was a bad experience or find out. It really depends on the information that you receive from your client, but find out, is there something that you could have done differently? And in some cases, if you are the champion for your client, which you should always be, and you found out they had a bad experience, well, you might be able to communicate with the account manager for that partner, and you might be able to get something to soften the experience. So now, if you're in travel mode, your travelers are traveling and they're frustrated and they contact you, they're activating you, and you could be doing all these things, or you could be calling the hotel and trying to sort something out. So I'm not saying that you're not doing that, but by sending the survey, you're giving them this formal way to convey what their experience was, good, bad, ugly. You're getting it all. And you're also getting especially with a survey, you're getting very specific feedback about working with you. And I don't know the exact stats on this. I believe we just had an accelerator in our office in Roswell, and our CEO, Jason Block, was talking about a study that the many cruise lines had done, or they had done it together, about what percentage of clients who book with a travel advisor book with that same travel advisor again, because they've got loads of data that they could analyze. And the percentage, Erica, I don't know if you remember the percentage, but it was staggering that way more than 50% don't. They still book the cruises with the different cruise lines, but they don't go back to the original advisor. Now, why do they not go back to that advisor? Well, there could be loads of reasons, but a survey would be a great way to find out if there's some issues or some friction with your customer experience that you could iron out, right? So this feedback is invaluable, especially if someone's willing to be very objective with their feedback. Now you have to take you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life, right? There's going to be some there's going to be some added drama for the way some people write. Some people might be extremely dry in their delivery. So you're using this survey as a vehicle to collect the feedback and see what you can do to improve things. And sometimes you find out that something that you thought was self-explanatory, or you feel like you communicated extremely well, uh, it was not. And the client, we all know that clients, even ourselves, don't read all the emails. I mean, that is a known thing. So even though you think that you have communicated all the information, you might find out from a survey that that wasn't their impression. They didn't they felt lost. They got to the port and they didn't know that they needed to have luggage tags on. They started to panic, even though at the port you can get the luggage tags, right? But these are the things that you start to find out, like, okay, well, I did communicate that to them via email, but maybe next time, and for all future clients, not just them, I should do a quick walkthrough of the common things that people gloss over when they're reading documents and things like that. That personal touch right there allows for some dialogue around those details, and you can clarify. And through having a dialogue before someone travels, you might find that there's a common misunderstanding, maybe in the way that you communicate, or even just the way the cruise line communicates or the tour operator communicates, right? Everybody, human beings are very complex, right? So you're never going to be able to do everything perfectly, but where you can make those improvements and where you do make those improvements, that's a moment of truth for your business. That is showing that not only I mean, you can say that the customer is the most important person to you, but when you refine your service delivery in such a way where it's continuously improving, you are going to knock the socks off of everyone you work with, but you're not going to get that feedback if you don't ask for it. Now, I see Erica is joined in the Q&A. Um, and she said, I missed that stat. Very interesting. I would add that reaching out right as they're returning would definitely help capture the next sale, in addition to all the great feedback you gather, etc. That's on topic today. So that's a great point. This immediate survey request, feedback request that you're sending out, it helps even open. They might not even fill out the survey, but it helps continue the conversation, because while they might not be ready to book something, you might get in an email, and this is still great feedback. You might get an email, oh my gosh, we had such a great time. I can't wait. I've got my anniversary coming up. I'm going to reach out to you about that. Okay, I'm going to go right over my CRM and follow up with them in a month or 6 weeks, right? So it's a great opportunity to have a purpose for your reach out, other than, hey, I hope you had a good time. Well, I'm sending you a request for feedback. I do want to know if you had a good time, a great time, or time, right? Let's see. And Erica said, TM on that conversation, you never want to have to fall back on it was in the email. You're technically correct, but you lost the customer service war. Right. It was in the email, but the moment, I mean, that's corporate culture too, right? As per my last email, that's we know what that's really saying, right? But that's essentially what you're saying when you say, "Oh, it was in the email." Um, so yeah, have the dialogue. And some of the things I'm giving you are because I've gotten that feedback, or not necessarily feedback, but I've gotten that advice from so many successful advisors. And it's just a part of their system. When somebody arrives back home, the feedback request goes out, and that, whether someone fills it out or not, that systematically happens. In fact, many will go ahead and schedule that email to deploy when they're finalizing the booking and getting all that taken care of. They know when the traveler is coming back, and they're going to make sure 24 hours later this survey request fires out. Um, and then they don't have to think about it. It's done, right? Because it should be that systematic for you. And then the reviewing of this information is something that should also be very systematic. Um, for in our network, so we are not selling travel, but we have thousands of members within our network. And we send a survey about every 3 months. And it trickles through across our network of our clients. And every week, our leadership team reads not only the score, and we use a net promoter score, and I'll talk about that in a moment, but we read the score, but we also read the comments. Now, the percentage of people that will just score us, just do a rating, um, is much greater than the people who leave comments. But the magic is in the comments. Now, I'm very happy that our clients are very happy. But sometimes they'll say, "We love working with you. I just wish it was easier to find X on our member hub." Well, I can tell you that we received one of those comments, and then we immediately started the process of re-engineering the navigation on our member hub. I mean, it came from the one person. Now, hundreds of people might have had that same feeling, but the person that wrote that comment down uh, got us to make a change, and we have since made that change. So so if it's just you, if you're a solopreneur, you're going to take that feedback, it's going to trickle in as it comes in, and you're just going to continually refine it. If you've got a team, if you're a multi-advisor agency, then I would have everyone read, maybe that's a part of your monthly meeting, is read the surveys that came in. And yes, I'm sure there's stories behind why somebody had a bad experience. Um, and you just want to be careful, especially with the team environment, that you don't discount the feedback just because maybe that was a more difficult client to work with. Let's face it, there's going to be some clients who are difficult to work with. But if you take away the drama, if you take away all the story, the narrative, what were they really bothered by? Were they bothered by the destination? Do they hate hot weather and they went to the Dominican Republic? I mean, choices, right? But I'm just saying, if you get that feedback, it's like, okay. But did they feel lost when they got to the airport? Like, is that a part of the story? Well, why did they feel lost? See if you can, what are the things that you could control, and what are things that maybe you need to level set those expectations. So it's interesting. I will say that if you're a sensitive soul, it is hard to read feedback, especially if you are the solopreneur. Everything that they're providing feedback on is essentially about you, right? So I will admit it's tough, but if you can look at those surveys objectively, you will get tons of information that is going to continue to help you grow exponentially. And sometimes, just a little side note here, if you had a client that has had some challenges, or you guys have had some challenges with the relationship, right? And they're the ones that fill out the survey, and you get that notification that they filled out the survey. If it's too soon for you, I give you permission to put that in a folder and you come back to it later, because the the worst thing that could happen is that you feel um, torn down by the feedback that you've been given. Okay. So if you have had a very trying time, if the entire trip you have been getting ding, 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 your text messages, the phone is going off at all hours, this is going to be some harsh feedback. And it might not even have anything to do with you. It might have something to do with them. Um, don't let that feedback tear you down while you're working with other clients. Every client is unique, and you can go to that feedback and decipher what you want to take from it later. You don't have to do it immediately. Okay, so I'm going to give you that permission there. Now, let's see. Althea said, "Good morning from Ohio." Althea, thank you. I feel like you have been to almost every single travel marketing Saturday session. I appreciate the heck out of you. Happy TM to everyone. I send out an email welcoming them home when they return, asking for feedback on their trip and experience. Sorry, again, I'm struggling to read here. So hold on a second. When they return, asking for feedback on their trip and experience with everything. I have a review link in this email. TM on the conversation with the client before travel for sure. Nice jacket, by the way. Thank you. I thought I would be a little more snazzy. I even had some jewelry on today. Uh, Althea, way to go. Way to go. So without doing a formal survey, you're using their arrival as an opportunity for them to email you with their feedback, and then also give you a review. I love that. Um, there's nothing wrong with that. I know I was saying keep your survey and your review requests separate. But here this is more of a request for a testimonial, right? You're doing it, you're laying the groundwork by saying, hey, I hope you had a great time. Let me know about your experience, and then please leave me a review. I love that. Uh, Collecting it in a survey form is a very different, I want to say it's more of a psychological thing because somebody looking at a survey uh, knows that that is um, more of a mechanical device. So the questions that you ask in the survey um, I under that's a form I'm filling out. So my approach to that is different than when you ask me whether it's on the phone, via text message, or an email. When you ask me how my experience was, I'm going to be very, I'm gonna talk to you like a human. But in a survey, I'm just more inclined to answer that in a much more formal formal way. So I wouldn't do both. I wouldn't send a survey link and a review. I wouldn't do that. But what you're doing is great. So you are collecting feedback. I just think that there's some added benefits to sending it in a form and then comparing results from client to client to client. That's a whole different experience. Okay. The looking at 10 customers over the year and seeing uh, that cross section of what was good, what could be improved. It also helps you figure out which clients are the ones that you want. I mean, you might instinctively know, but when you look at how they give, what the feedback they give you, and you compare it, out of 10 customers, this one customer was sour grapes. So let's figure out who that one customer is and how they came into my funnel and how the whole sales process worked with them and their travel worked. Uh, do I want to do that again? Do I want to shut down that lead flow or do I want to divert that customer who isn't a right fit? These are all great things when you start to look at that feedback very objectively. But Althea, I love that you're doing that. And I just think there's another level. Kimberly said, Althea, I just added my review link to my welcome home email this week. I love it. Look at this. Uh, and Kimberly said, thank you for pointing out the difference in using a form. Fantastic. All right. Well, there's not one way to do this. We're going to go back to the whole premise of travel marketeering is creating systems. So if you're creating a system, then yes, you can template that email that you send personally asking for feedback. But if you could ask the same questions of every single client that when they return from their trip, that's going to give you information that you can analyze, and you can also see, maybe at the beginning of the year, the surveys you received said this, right? There was a common theme. Um, and then when you compare those answers to the clients who traveled at the end of the year, you might see that that's been solved. And that is a very rewarding feeling. Small moves can have such a major impact. And just sending a link for a survey can have major, major impact. The other thing I want to point out, if you are creating this system of sending the surveys, sending the review, the request for review a little later, okay? I want you to go with me here. I had not a great experience um, on my trip because I was traveling with my magnificent other and they were not that magnificent. So when I get the link for the survey, I am holding on to some other issues. So everything down to the way the person at the Delta counter greeted me is now under the magnifying lens. Okay. So I wish you had sent a paper, a printed version of my itinerary in the mail, along with a $50 bill. I don't know. I'm being dramatic here. Um, but really, I'm doing it because I had such a miserable time with my magnificent other. We should never travel again together, right? So I'm using this survey to work out some kinks in my life. There might be some nuggets that you can use, but I am letting off steam because you know what? I'm not telling my magnificent other that they are so terrible to travel with and that we're never going to book another trip again, right? I'm so angry. Now, I've let that out. I've blessed and released it. Thank you so much for asking me to fill out this survey because I needed to tell you about everything that was wrong, right? So I've now let off the steam. I've taken out my frustration. And then 3 weeks later, maybe 4 weeks later, I get a message from you to say, hey, can you please help me find amazing clients like you? Here's a link, press this link, and it will either open up your, maybe you are a part of, the members of our network have free profiles on travelleaders.com. It's called Agent Profiler. And there's a link for you to request reviews from your client. So you can send them that link and it just pops up. They can fill out the review, give you a star rating, boom. Same thing you can do with Google as well. Click a link, get a review wherever you want reviews to be. But you give them that link. Well, you know what? I am way over it. I had such a fabulous time in Ireland. I got to climb around in castles that if you were in England, they would not let you climb all throughout the castle the way they did in Ireland. Oh, what an amazing experience. Oh my gosh, I had potatoes in three different ways in one pub at the same time, right? I, all of a sudden, I forget that the misery that I was in because you let me let that steam out. So yes, I will click this link for a referral, right? Or not a referral, for a testimonial. And I'm going to leave you a glowing review. Okay. Yes, that's what you want. Plus, it has now simmered down. I have now come to peace with my travel companion. And now I want to think about next year's trip or the Christmas markets or something, right? I have now gotten over it. Um, and I feel like I'm speaking from personal experience here. I don't know. Could I be? I don't know. But my point is that the review of your services, I think you will see better response rates and better reviews when someone is pining for the next trip or now their memory folders are filled with so many things that at night they're going through them, or at dinner parties they're talking about these trips. So, and they're talking about the amazing experiences that you were able to craft for them. It's human nature, right? What's right in front of us is front of mind, and if we've had a bad experience in any situation, or we're just miserable, if you have been 10 days with somebody and you are resenting every single thing that happens, yes, when I fill out that survey, I'm going to be salty. But at the end of the day, did I get to go to the Mediterranean? Did I get to go to places I've never been before? Did I go on a special boat excursion to Crete? I don't know. There all of a sudden there's it's magical. But when I was at that airport, I was on fire. I was not happy. So I'm just saying, this is from my experience. I have seen people create these systems and it work. Just it doesn't need to be, it can't be 2 months later. It can't be 3 months later. It can't be a year later. That's just, it's not fresh. But 3 weeks later, a month, 4 weeks later, is a good spot to ask for that review. And I've said it differently in the past. If you go back and look at things, any education seminars that I've done, I've talked about asking for that review right away. But now I have seen this system work where get the feedback survey, let them give you everything while it's fresh in their mind. Some cases you can do something about their experience. Okay. So when I ask you, when you ask for that review some weeks later, you've maybe solved one of their problems. And now they can talk about, Althea was amazing at crafting it. We had a couple of hiccups with the hotel, but she was able to do all of this to make us just over the moon with her service, right? That if a client, a future client reads that review, they can really feel what it's like to work with an advisor, someone who is taking care of them, not only closing the deal and getting them booked in their holiday, but somebody that is with them along the way. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I feel like I got a little preachy there. And I just see that Erica has jumped in again. She said, TM, I have watched this happen many times. They're right back at planning their own trip again and sending you the referral. Right. Sending the referral because they're talking about the trip, and they're all loved up again. Their magnificent other can't do any wrong. They're just like, oh, I can't wait. And Althea took care of me, and da 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 da. Oh, you wanted Althea's information? Oh, here you go. Because Althea made sure that I had referral cards, little business cards that have her contact information, but they're specifically used for referrals that Althea sends in snail mail, um, at the same time she shoots the email or text message to ask for the review. So not only do they leave a review, but then a few days later in the mail, they get these little referral cards. Send three. You don't need to send them a stack, just three. Um, that's going to make me think, oh, I need to give that to my aunt. I need to keep that in my car because I'm always talking about how great Althea is. Just saying. I hope that was a little nugget there. And let's see here. And Allison said, TM, great point. A client's view of the trip can change after the emotion drains out. Oh, I love that. Let that emotion drain out. Good. I like that, Allison. Thank you. Uh, Mercedes said, I'm not sure if I missed this, but on the feedback survey, do you think there are specific questions that should be asked? I always struggle with people in my reviews commenting on the resort or overall trip, but not really specifics on working with them. And oh, I love that referral card. I'm just saying, sometimes you get some other unexpected nuggets out of these travel marketing sessions. So Mercedes, yes, I'm glad that you got me on track. So let's talk about the questions that you should ask because you're 100% right. You asked for the feedback, especially if it's very broad. How was your trip? Well, let me tell you, I couldn't get a porter at the curb to take my luggage. Okay. Um, great. I've had that same experience at the airport, especially LAX. I don't know. I just so you're 100% right. They're going to give you everything. Um, so let me talk about and I'm looking down at my notes. So if you see me look away, I'm looking down at my notes. So before I get into what questions, let's talk about things to avoid. Okay. So first, not defining the goals of your survey, right? We've talked a lot about getting the feedback. Clearly outline what you want to achieve with the feedback. And again, what are you going to act on? So you can ensure that the questions are relevant. So define, and I think we've been talking about that. So I feel like defining goals are very helpful. Big one. Avoid overly long surveys. I I have a rule of three. Now, I could stretch if you really pushed me to five, but depending on the form, the survey functionality, when I receive something, and sometimes it has like a little progress tracker, like how much longer is this going to take? After I give like a star rating or an NPS rating, and then I leave maybe a paragraph or just a couple of sentences. Um, I really don't want to do much more. And especially if I'm on a mobile device, I just want to click buttons, and then maybe one space for me to freeform type. And I'm saying me when I talk like that, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of my client. Is this something I can fill out really quick while I'm waiting on food to be delivered? Or on my lunch break, can I just do this really quick? Especially really think about people being on their phones. Same with reviews. Make sure that the way that you are requesting a review, you've got just that link and it automatically pops up. Don't tell them, go to Google, search my name, da 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 da. In fact, if you want reviews on Google, if you search Google for link to send to automatically open a review, the review form for Google, uh, there's a specific link that you can get and you can grab to send to your clients, and it will just automatically pop open. As long as they're logged in to Google, it'll automatically pop open. If they're not, it'll ask them to log in or create a login if they don't have one. But make it super easy because I'll fill that out if I can do it on my phone. Now, if they're on their desktop, that's great. But if you think mobile first in everything, that's where you get convenience. So overly long surveys, most of the time, there's repetitive questions in there. So really be specific about what, again, going back to the goals, what am I going to action? And what is just it's nice to know, but I'm not really going to do anything with it. Again, we'll talk about the questions. Um, Avoid complex language. This is something I'm throwing in here because uh, you want it to be the questions to be framed up in a way that you would ask them. Okay. And you have to be really careful. The travel industry has tons of acronyms. It has tons of terminology that only are understood by fellow travel professionals. Okay. But it becomes so much, it becomes so ingrained in the way that we speak that inevitably it comes out when we're speaking to clients. So you just want to make sure that this is a conversation between friends. It's an interview with a friend. So just avoid any complex language and just keep it really simple. If you have 3 questions or 5 questions, ask somebody not in the business to just read those questions and if and ask them what they think you're trying to ask. What's the question behind the question? Because the questions might be great, they might be simple, but if you say, "Hey, what do you think I'm asking for here?" and they give you an answer that doesn't sync up with what you're asking, then maybe think about how to ask that question a little bit differently. Okay. Then the other thing, it's a very common mistake, is avoid leading or double-barreled questions. Okay. So I anything that's framing up the tell me about how great your experience was on your vacation. That's a leading question. What if it wasn't great? Okay. So be cognizant of that. You might approach it by being super positive, and that's why you say it that way, and you want a positive response. But in a feedback survey, let's stick to the facts. Now, a double-barreled question is one where you're asking 2 questions in one go. And I have an example. Uh, how satisfied are you with our service and your vacation? So you're asking about 2 things. They're 2 different topics. So what is it that you want to know? Is it how satisfied are you with the experience of working with me or my agency? Okay. What's that answer? And overall, how would you rate your vacation? That's another thought. So what the service one is saying, this what was your experience in working with me or my agency? Was it was it okay? Was it poor? Was it fantastic? So you can add some of that creativity and optimism in your drop-down choices if that's what you're if that's the way you're asking the question for someone to select a rating. And that's let your personality shine through. That's another part of your brand or a way to demonstrate your brand. So add that. But asking that question about my service is something I can do. Now in the vacation one, you're opening up to so much more. So it's not just you. It could be the way they respond could tell you about how you advised them on the trip and what products you selected for them. But it also could incorporate, yeah, but the sheets weren't changed. I thought my room would be cleaned every day, things like that. Which you will find out information about your partners. You'll find out information about your destination, and it just overall the way someone is evaluating their vacation. So that is helpful. So Mercedes, going back to what you were just asking, I think the number one thing you should want to get out of the feedback form is what was your experience like? How satisfied were you with the experience of working with me? And if you are a solopreneur, this is a business of one, using that personal language there is going to help you get to the true sentiment of that client. So if I read something that says if I worked with you, Mercedes, and I know that you are a small business owner, and I don't know if you're an agency of one, but let's for this example, let's say you are. I if you send me how satisfied were you with with the experience of working with with our agency. So say you were trying to make the agency seem like this more of this corporation. Um, that doesn't feel right because I know Mercedes is the business. I had a fantastic time working with Mercedes. She was so personable, but the survey is now really dry. So just that's uh, a little, it's a small thing, but Mercedes in your survey, if you say, how satisfied were you with the service that I provided? I'm gonna say, Mercedes, you were amazing. I loved your attention to detail, and thank you so much for reminding me about the luggage tags because that made it a breeze to check in at the port. Or you said download the app before you go. Make sure you logged into the app because that's the way that you'll stay connected with the cruise line. You know what I mean? It really personalizes that. I do think asking an overall question about the vacation, again, it invites feedback on the partners that you worked with, the destination, give them that opportunity. And then NPS, which is Net Promoter Score. I'm sure you have filled this out in the past. It is a scientifically formulated question to indicate whether a customer is a promoter, or they're likely to promote you, they are passive, or they are a detractor. And the question is very specific. I think I've got it written down here. Um, the question is, how likely are you to recommend a company's products or services? I mean, you can personalize it. How likely are you to recommend Mercedes travel agency, right? Um, so I'm sure you've filled these out before, but the scoring, it's a 1 through 10 scoring. And the scoring is broken down. However you score it is going to indicate whether you are a promoter, you're passive, or you're a detractor. Um, if you are if you're passive or a detractor, most of the time there's a follow-up question that will populate that's asking how could we do better, something like that. Um, so that is normally a standalone survey. With an NPS survey, you don't want to add a heck of a lot of questions. Now, I have done longer surveys, especially like annual surveys for companies where we ask the NPS question and then we ask other questions. But if you're trying to do these more transactional surveys, I would either do the custom survey where you're asking 3 to 5 questions, that's collecting information that you can act on, or I would just do this NPS survey because ultimately you're trying to find out how satisfied were they with working with you. And if they are passive or they are a detractor, you can get some feedback on what was it, why did they give you that score? I think that's the follow-up question is what led you to give that score? So I do think NPS survey is very, very helpful. Um, it's 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 easy, but it's not necessarily going to get those specifics. So if I want to know service, their experience with my company, that's going to give me that information. But if I want service and I want to know about the trip itself, I think asking more specific questions in the feedback survey, I think that's more helpful. But I just want to let you know that that's an option, and either you can either that's an option in the different survey providers. I know in SurveyMonkey it's a part of that. But if you see NPS, that's what it is, Net Promoter Score, and it's really just to measure the loyalty and satisfaction and enthusiasm of a customer. That's what that is doing. So if you use that, that's great. If you don't, no worries. Ask questions. Ask them if they would rate their trip or their experience with you from a 1 to 10, 10 being the best. Um, that's an option definitely with creating those forums. Once you start to create your feedback survey, you can refine it over time. It's whatever you create, you don't have to stay with the whole time. However, if you do stay with something, then you can start to compare the results, survey over survey and over different periods of time. Um, and Erica has just dropped in the chat. I'll leave it up or in the Q&A. Here's a link to the UK version of SurveyMonkey, a Net Promoter Score, and that'll give you a little more information. And probably there is either a free trial with SurveyMonkey, or maybe it just allows you to do one survey, which would be or create one survey that you can send to multiple people, which would be all you would need, really. I just can't remember if it's a day trial or if it's by single survey. So check that out. But I definitely would want to isolate your experience with me and make sure that that's really clear, and experience with the the overall the service providers that you've used. I think that's very good to separate that out. You can also, in the survey, you could say, would you mind writing a review for me that I can post on my website? Now, you can definitely do that. Kill two birds with one stone. But I go back to that, let the emotion drain out first before I want to ask them for a testimonial. Because if I'm on fire about things that are well out of my control, and I'm using this survey to blow off steam, I'm not going to give you a testimonial, or I will give you a testimonial and it's not going to be in the right frame of mind. And it really would not make sense for me to ask for that person to give another testimonial a little bit later. So again, I really am a proponent of separating out. Let me get drain out all the feedback, and then let me ask you for a review a little bit later. Okay. All right. So, let's see. Is there something else that I want to tell you about surveys? Make sure you're doing them, definitely. I really want to get into some of these requests for reviews and testimonials. So I've got some, I think they're kind of cute and clever. So yeah, yeah, let's do that. If you have questions about the surveys, drop it in, and we can definitely address that. Erica's got a comment here. The alarming part of the NPS, the Net Promoter Score, is that 60 or 70 is a good score. Yes. So let's talk about the scoring on NPS. So it's based on 0 to 100 and 0 to negative 100. Yeah. So a 0 is very passive. Okay. Uh, But yeah, this is not like grade school, right? So a 0 is just right in the middle, not doing great, not doing bad, right? Just in the middle. So as you move to the positive, that's that's showing how satisfied people are. So 60 and 70, 60 or 70 is not a C or an F. Was it D or an F, right? Yeah, not a D and an F in terms of grade school, right? Uh, that is excellent. I mean, if you can do a 70, I don't think many companies in corporate America are at a 70. So that's excellent. For you to have 100, I would assume that you don't have a lot of feedback. So there's going to be a little bit drawing that number down. But yeah, you can look to see if you do a search, company, average company NPS scores, you're going to see they're in the 40s, the 50s, 60 and 70 is beyond. So it's you got to get your mind set on how the scoring actually what's good and what's not good. So as you get closer to 0, that's you got a problem. You got a problem. And if you're in the negative, that's a real problem. So yeah, dig in a little bit deeper on the NPS survey, but I don't want to overcomplicate things. create your form, Google Forms or Microsoft Forms, and get survey requests out or feedback requests out, collect that information, and then do something with that information and continually improve. Okay. Althea said, "Thank you for all your nuggets of info, and I love sending out a referral card. I will use this with a personalized thank you card and asking for a review after emotion is drained out." This is off topic, okay? But I just wanted to share a highlight of my week. I'm coming up on my first anniversary as a travel agent and being a business owner. Congratulations. Congratulations. I just finished my first newsletter this week. I just came up with a name for my newsletter and wanted to get your opinion. Okay, we'll go off topic here. Let's see. My niche is culinary and cultural immersion travel. The name is uh, palettes and passports. What do you think? I love it. If that speaks to you and your brand, I love it. Um, and of course, the as you deliver your newsletter, um, you might refine that a little bit because you are essentially with every newsletter you're sending, you're delivering on that promise of palettes and passports. So yeah, go for it. I'm super proud of you. I love coming up with a name that isn't just Althea's newsletter, right? Uh, Erica said the link above walks through the scoring. It's very easy. Yeah, it is. It is very easy. But I remember when I rolled out NPS in one company, the NPS survey, and I think the score was a 46, and you could the room, the temperature in the room was not good. And I had to point out, I think at the time I looked at Apple, Disney, different companies, and a lot of them were around like 36. So at that time. So they were doing way better than companies that they use every day and were satisfied with. So yeah, the scoring is very easy. It's just different, and it's not when you just automatically think a 70 is bad. So thank you, Erica, for jumping in. I really appreciate that. All right, let's get into asking for reviews. So survey, feedback, we got that set aside. You want to make sure you're always asking for reviews, and you want to create a system around that. So as I said, I would highly recommend survey, get all the feedback, and then 3, 4 weeks later, ask for the review and make that systematic. Okay. Just like I was suggesting maybe even scheduling the email to go out, asking for the feedback when you know someone's, when you're working on finalizing the trip, go ahead and schedule those out. Or if you have a CRM that automatically will deploy messages based on different, a status of a customer, return from a trip being a status. Um, have those automatically sent out and then have the request for a review. Now, as I said, I am, and I would think many people are like this. I'm more prone to respond to review requests on my phone. It's something, especially if I can do it really quick. So I love a text message that has the link, will you please leave me a review? But email will work too. It just depends. On my phone, if I got it on a Saturday afternoon while I'm at a ball game, and when I say ball game, it's not because I like sports. I'm trying to support a family member. Okay, let's just be real. I thought the seventh inning stretch was the game was over, and that was an embarrassing moment for me. But anyway, so I do like text messages, but I've got some fun things that I'm going to read off to you. But don't worry, you don't have to take note for note. Or word for word notes on this because I am going to drop this when I get done with the session today. I'm going to drop this in our Facebook group, our private Facebook group. If you're not a member of our private Facebook group, go to Facebook and search Travel Marketeers, not Travel Marketeering, Travel Marketeers, and join the Facebook group. You have to say which session you join. So just say the November 23rd session, and then our team will approve you to come in there. But the group is just getting started. But we want to create an environment filled with travel marketeers, where not only we can share information with you, but you can share information with each other and solicit advice and feedback, like Althea with her newsletter, popping that in the discussion will get loads of travel marketeers chiming in. So I am going to drop this in, so don't worry, you don't have to say repeat that because I've got some other things that I worked into this list that not list, but document that I created here. So, all right, the first one, this is going to be an email, and it's called the postcard reminder. Hold on, I'm going to take a sip. I only drink Dr. Pepper on Saturdays. Mm. I was like a commercial. All right. So this is called the postcard reminder. Again, I'm gonna drop these in the Facebook group so you can get them. The subject line is "Wish you were here, dot, 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 sharing your adventure." Dear client's name, we hope you're still basking in the glow of your recent trip to destination. While you may have returned home, your memories can continue to inspire fellow travelers. Why not send a virtual postcard by leaving a quick review of your experience? Your insights are like hidden treasures on the map for future adventurers. Share your journey in just a few clicks. Then insert the link to Google, Facebook, Agent Profiler. As a token of our appreciation, and you don't have to do this part, as a token of our appreciation, we'll send you a physical postcard from popular destination when you leave a review. Okay? Happy travels. Sign off, right? Okay, what I love about this is you're talking in the love language of travel, right? You're talking about that. And then I'm going to send you a postcard from a popular destination. Okay. I have heard so many advisors do this where they have their CRM, so they've got it with them, but they're on a river cruise and they buy postcards and they fill it out uh, and send it to their clients while they're on the trip. I mean, that is a very, very special touch. What I love about this is maybe you're all about Alaska in 2026, or not 2026, 2025. Well, let's say 2026 if you're doing it for 2025. All right, so you're all about Alaska. Go to Alaska or order a bunch of postcards from Alaska. You don't have to actually have been there. And make that the postcard that you send out to people who leave reviews. Think about it. You're marketing Alaska to people who leave you reviews. And even if they don't leave you a review, they saw Alaska in this email, they now know that you are all about Alaska right now. Just saying. I thought it was pretty clever. All right. Here's number two. Uh, the travel time machine. This is another email. Subject line, turn back time, hyphen, relive your destination, adventure, exclamation point. Hello, client's name. Remember when you were sipping local drink inserted there by the insert famous landmark just a few weeks ago? We've got a time machine that can take you right back. It's called leaving a review. By sharing your experience, you'll not only relive those magical moments, but also help fellow travelers create their own unforgettable memories. Ready for a quick trip down memory lane? Insert your review link. As a bonus, if you leave a review in the next 48 hours, getting a little sense of urgency there, we'll enter you into a drawing for a travel-related prize, like maybe some packing cubes. Uh, Depending on how what your budget is, you could even have those custom branded. I'm just saying, kind of, I think it'd be clever. Uh, Bon voyage again, exclamation point, and then sign off. What do you think about that? Do we like the travel time machine? I like it. All right. So here's some text message options. The emoji adventure is this one. So hi, client's name, exclamation point, wavy emoji. How was your trip to destination? And you got palm tree, airplane, beach umbrella. We'd love it if you could share your adventure with a quick review. It'll take less time than applying sunscreen with a little time emoji, little sunshade emoji, and then insert the review link. Doesn't that sound fun? Doesn't that make you want to do it? And the thing is you can save all these in if you're on iPhone on your Apple Notes, and you can just cut and paste these that already has your review link in it, and just text it to them. I think I like it. I hope you do too. Oh, how about this? Number two, the souvenir request. Client's name, comma. We forgot to ask you for a souvenir! Exclamation point with a little gift box emoji. But we know what we'd love even more. Your review of our service! Exclamation point. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Explosion emoji, because I don't know what that celebration emoji is. It's like a horn with confetti. Share your thoughts here and then insert the link to your review. All right, the third one and the final one. The travel guru. Psst, client's name with a little secret emoji. Want to be a travel guru? Question mark. Your review can guide future explorers to amazing adventures um, by their compass. Sorry, by their compass. Again, me reading is not great. And then a little arrow emoji and then the link to your review. I hope that you're inspired to use these because I thought they were really good. So let me know if you thought they were really good. Like I said, don't worry about rewinding. These are going to be in the Facebook group, the Travel Marketeer Facebook group. So I'm going to drop them right when we wrap up. So I've got it ready to go. That's what I was reading off. So anyway, asking for reviews, make it systematic. All and your feedback surveys, make it systematic because that will just continue to feed your marketing system, your service delivery improvement. It will also validate uh, if you felt like the entire experience with this client was fantastic and you see that they thought it was fantastic, it's very validating, and then it gives you that the energy to go and do more. But too often people wait to ask to do the feedback surveys until there is a problem. They're trying to figure out why there is a problem, or they don't ask for reviews throughout the year, and then they go on a mad campaign to get a bunch of reviews in. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If you haven't been collecting reviews, then by all means, please do one of those campaigns where it's just a blitz to get people to fill out reviews. But think about it. Think about the last time you bought something on Amazon and you scroll through the reviews and you see that they all happened within the same week. And there could be months bef between the next review. Um, that indicates that people are not this is not a business that's continuing to or continually servicing clients. If, like I said, if you haven't been collecting reviews, then yes, do a blitz. But if you can just make them trickle throughout the year over year, it adds up. It makes a difference. So please make it a part of your systems. Let's see. Kimberly said, just sent my request to join the Facebook group. All right, Kimberly. Well, I will go when I go in there. I'll see if we've got anybody that hasn't been approved to go in there. Because Andrea on our team, she's the one that is working on the Facebook group. So she doesn't get I don't think she looks on the weekends, even though she knows I do this on Saturday. So if you're waiting to get in, oftentimes it's because she'll do it on Monday. But I love that Drea loves this community and loves working on it. And I'm glad that you guys are a part of it because we're gonna have fun. And believe me, there's plenty in store. There are nuggets galore. Many of you I've known for many, many years, and you know that I love talking about travel marketeering. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. I've loved it enough. All right. Now we're at the point where we're going to wrap up. I'm so glad that you were here, but leave and drop in the Q&A. Is there something that we talked about today? And it doesn't have to be necessarily about feedback surveys, but is there something through our conversation today that you are going to take action on in the next 7 days? Um, Now there could be things that might take a lot longer, but what can you do in the next 7 days? What are you inspired to do in the next 7 days that you weren't planning on until today? So drop that in the Q&A. I'd love to, I always love to wrap up with that. Now, I want to remind you again about if you want to watch if you want to watch this episode or you want to watch any of the past episodes of Travel Marketeering, go to YouTube, search World Via Travel Network. Make sure you subscribe so you can get notifications as videos are posted. But there is a playlist specifically for travel marketeering. So you can watch all the past episodes and we talk about loads of different things. We go from beginner marketing to advanced marketing. But there's a lot of content there and more to come. More to come. These aren't going anywhere. So check that out. Also, the private Facebook group. Again, search on Facebook for Travel Marketeer. Travel Marketeers, sorry, not Travel Marketeering. That's how you'll find the group, Travel Marketeers. So find that. Also, we released a book here last month, or no, this month, called Travel Marketeering. You can find it on Amazon. The physical book is sold out, but the ebook is available. So please check that out. It goes through a lot of marketing advice around your travel agency, a lot. Our team worked on that very, very hard. Specifically, our content manager, Evan, I have to give a big shout out to him because if he wasn't working on that project, I would have not finished that book. So yeah, check out the book if you haven't yet. And I want to remind you that on November 30th, so next Saturday, I will be here. I might still be on a turkey high, but I will be here and we're going to be talking about leveraging pay-per-click fundamentals as a travel advisor. So we're going to talk about what PPC is and why it's essential for travel agents, tips for targeting the right audience and maximizing your ROI, your return on investment, best practices for budgeting and measuring campaign performance. Now, pay-per-click advertising is something that has come up in many of the Q&As that we've done through Travel Marketeering. Next week, we're going to go in and we're going to do we're going to at least build one ad campaign. So I'm going to show you around. I'll also give you some resources so you can look into the topic further. But I know that many of you want to talk about this. So please join me. And again, if you can't join me, it will be available on our YouTube channel. So going over to the Q&A, let's see what people have to say. Kara said, I'm going to switch my systems up a bit and do the survey first and the review later. And I'm going to use one of your example review requests because they are so fun. I'm so glad that you like them. I worked on them last night and I felt like these I think could be useful. An anonymous attendee said the referral cards and the survey before the review. Those referral cards came in handy. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys like them. And it's not getting business cards. I mean, when you go to create them, you can do them on any business card platform like Vistaprint. I think Canva even does printing now. But you're just taking your business card information, but you're making it a referral card. And I think you could be really creative with that. Here, I just feel like making it look like something that doesn't seem like a business card. You're still using a business card output, but it doesn't seem like a business card. It seems like my special referral card. I think that could be really cool. And Julie said, creating those postcards, love them. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Big thank you again for tuning in live, or if you're watching this on demand. Just love that you are taking part in these travel marketing sessions. And again, I'm here most Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, live. Love for you to participate live. I want to wish all of you a very, very happy Thanksgiving. I am so grateful for you, and I am so grateful that you are investing in your business by focusing in on travel marketing. Create those systems. All right. Take care of yourself. I'll see you real soon. Bye.